so that if the other vehicle is not insured, and I must tell you, in the state of Texas, about 1 in 5 people are not insured, even though they're required by the law of the state of Texas to have insurance. It just happens that way. And in certain parts of Austin, that number is as high as 1 in 2 or 1 in 3. So just be careful out there and make sure that you're taken care of. So I also definitely have UIM just in case, and it's already come in handy for me. I was involved in an accident in 2018 in Austin. They were driving a vehicle that had been lent to them by a auto company, like they had their car in the shop. And there was a lot of confusion on whose insurance was going to be covering. Was it going to be the individual's insurance? Was it going to be the actual car lot's insurance? Who was covering? And rather than waiting for months and months and months before they worked that out to get a vehicle, I was able to use my UIM, have my insurance cover it, and they covered all of my medical bills, everything that I needed.
You wait, and then you can get your treatment done quickly.
Correct. I didn't have to worry about how it was going to play out with the other insurances or anything like that. I just went ahead and used my UIM, and I used my PIP, which is another form of insurance, personal injury protection, which is often bundled with UIM. And so personal injury protection covers you if you have personal injuries as the result of a collision. So typically, the way that PIP is going to work is there's going to be a minimum of $2,500. Depending on what insurance company you have, there could be $5,000, $10,000, with USAA up to even $100,000 I've seen. And what it does is it covers specifically your medical bills as a result of the collision. So in that 2018 collision, I had PIP. I was able to get the care that I needed, and the PIP covered it. I didn't have to worry about making a big claim against my insurance, and my insurance worked it out with the other person's insurance when they finally figured out which insurance policy was going to cover it. So it gives me the peace of mind when I'm driving, so that in case I'm not at fault at all. In the case of my 2018, the person drove across 4 lanes of traffic and drove right in front of me and was across the entire lane. I had no choice but to actually hit them, and tried to make it as gentle as possible. But that was completely not my fault in any way. And so despite the fact that unfortunate things happen sometimes and accidents just happen, I was able to make sure that I was covered and that I was able to get everything that I needed as quickly as possible so that I wasn't put out. Had I not had the UIM insurance, I would have had to wait several months for them to work out which insurance was going to cover and go ahead and cover it. I would have been without a vehicle for that amount of time. And I would have had to pay for all of my medical out of pocket up front, which at that time would have been kind of difficult for me for the amount of medical that I ended up having. So I highly, 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 again, recommend that if at all you can afford it, to go ahead and get the UIM coverage, because it's just as useful to you as having the basic coverage that's required by law. Also note that the insurance agent, whoever sells you your insurance, is required to offer you UIM in the state of Texas, and you'll sign a release saying that you don't want it. So a lot of times you'll have an insurance agent, especially if you're trying to go cheap. You're trying to do the cheap route, get $20, $30 a month insurance. They'll tell you, oh, it's no big deal. You're never going to use it. That's not actually true. So go ahead, and if you have the ability to pay, like I said, usually it's $5 to $20 a month. Go out to eat one less time a month and go ahead and make sure that you're covered, so that if something does happen, if something does happen, you're covered, you've got it taken care of, you've taken care of yourself. And there's no reason not to get it, because you're taking care of you. You're not taking care of, you and anyone that would be in the vehicle with you. So if you've got a spouse, children, loved ones that are in the car with you, they're also covered with UIM. No reason not to get it.
Yeah, everyone should have this additional coverage. If you got into the car accident that the other person is at fault and they don't have insurance, you have no control into the situation, right? But what you can control is what type of insurance that you have, what type of coverage that you have. So it's definitely worth it to have the additional coverage by just paying additional $5 or $10 every month.
Yep. Well, and again, like, the thing that you can control is you can make sure, because what you're buying with the UIM is you're making sure there's a minimum amount of insurance that will cover the accident. And so you're making sure that you're taken care of no matter what. So if you have a 30/60 policy, pay the extra $5 to $10 a month and get a 30/60 policy that covers you. You may as well. You're more than worth it, I promise. And so it makes sure that you get that minimum coverage no matter what.
We should talk a little bit more about what's the difference between UIM, and PIP.
So to clarify, UIM covers medical bills and anything else that you would have. So it can cover medical bills. It can cover lost wages if you have lost wages. If there was something that you had to purchase as a direct result of the collision. So let's say because of the collision, for whatever reason, you had to purchase like a shower chair because you had a hard time walking for a little bit. That would also be covered, and it would be something that you could submit for that. Now, the difference between that and PIP is a smaller amount. So if you're in a minor fender bender, typically, like I've said before, $2,500 is the minimum amount you'll get for PIP. And so let's say you're in a minor fender bender, you just go to the doctor says you're fine. You go to urgent care, get checked out, get a couple x-rays. That bill is probably going to be less than the $2,500. And so what your insurance will do is you'll submit those medical bills to your insurance as a PIP claim, which is a separate and individual claim versus having a claim against your entire insurance. And so if you make a PIP claim and you're able to go ahead and pay your medical bills using your PIP money, then it's not going to make your insurance amount go up as much because you're going to get a little bit of a policy increase because you've been in an accident. But a PIP claim doesn't count against you as hard as a third-party claim would or a UIM claim would. So it's another way to be able to guarantee that if you have a minor accident or minor injury, it can also be helpful if you have a large accident and large injuries because that's additional money that you're able to get to the full amount of that PIP coverage. And again, the PIP coverage covers you and other people that are in your car. It does not cover a third party. So this is just a little bit extra that you can get to make sure that you're taken care of, or the people in your car, your loved ones, are taken care of. And it's not something that, is here to protect you as far as what would happen for another person. It's here to make sure that, again, you or your loved ones get a little bit extra coverage so that if it's not so bad of an accident, you can go ahead and go to the doctor, get checked out, and not have to worry about it at all, because PIP claims are very, very easy. They're very simple. They're very easy to make. And the insurance company would love for you to go ahead and make that PIP claim and be able to get you that check so that you can pay for that extra care that you needed.
So can we say that if it's a small claim and then let's go ahead and use PIP, then your premium is not going to go up so much, right?
It goes up a little bit. It's not going to go up nearly as much as it would if you were at fault for the accident, nor would it go up as much as it would if you had a UIM claim. The other thing that PIP can do is if you're in a minor fender bender and you're not that injured, you don't even have to hire an attorney. So it puts you in that additional area. And I would love, if you had a minor fender bender, for you to be able to go to the doctor and not have to hire me or Jeannie to be on your case so that you can just have everything taken care of. And in order to do that, I highly, highly, highly recommend to go ahead and pay that extra $5 to $10 a month for PIP. I have PIP coverage. I actually have PIP coverage up to $10,000. Again, because as I said, if you go to the hospital in the Austin area, it's going to be about 6 to 8. So I went ahead and upped mine to $10,000 worth of coverage just in case, so that I wouldn't have to worry about it. Now, if you're not in a position where you're able to do that, that's perfectly fine. But I would highly suggest getting that personal injury protection for that $2,500, because in the very least, that'll cover you going to your primary care physician or an urgent care and getting some basic imaging done.
And that gives you more flexibility, because a lot of people that they got into a car accident and their premiums go up a little bit. Depends on the collision.
And that's the thing. PIP will cover you. If the accident is worth more than PIP, go ahead and call an attorney and we'll take care of you.